Chelsea Football Club, Victor Osimhen wants to join Chelsea Football Club. Mikel confirms it once again. The deal apparently is one phone call away. Furthermore, Delap is more in demand than ice cream on a hot summer's day. Because the reality is he's got all of the English clubs lining up to take him, and it's only going to cost £40 million, and we need to talk about it. And finally, there's a lot of criticism going around regarding Chelsea. A lot of negativity. They're not making top four, according to a lot of people. Next year, I will not be listening to the Champions League anthem. But a lot of people are saying one thing that is really starting to irritate me, and I'm going to get to the root of it. And it involves Mauricio Pochettino. So what are we going to do? We're going to assess what they're saying, and then we're going to analyze why I think Chelsea are going to make the Champions League and why people are drastically overreacting. So before we get started, number one, hit that like button. Let's get to 1,000 likes. In the comments below, let me know what number like you were. It's the best way to support the channel. It gets the algorithm going. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, we're like 250 people away from 40,000. Peeps, what are you doing? Help a small content creator out. Subscribe to the channel. You're going to get good news on a regular basis. Let's get started. Victor Osimhen to Chelsea is a saga that went on all last year. I personally didn't want Victor Osimhen. I personally was an idiot. The reason I didn't want him were reasons that I really shouldn't care about. I started being the accountant. You know them ones. You know those football fans when we get too carried away. Oh my God, the books. It doesn't make sense. What will other players think? I don't care. I've got to the stage now. I want to see the best players possible at my football club. Victor Osimhen is one of the best players possible in his current position at the moment. And he's proved it again this year. He stayed fit. He's got numbers. And more importantly, he's had impact. And I like that from people. But what's the news? Let's talk about it. Number one, Mikel on his podcast, once again, was very explicit in what he said. He said, Victor supports Chelsea. He wants to come to Chelsea and he wants to win trophies. He wants to break Drogba's records and he will do it right now. He's still interested in the move. What needs to happen is Chelsea to pick up the phone, call him, and the deal's already prepped. There is an agreement that they basically had in the past. It will literally involve the two parties coming together and just nailing it on the coffin. So that from the outset tells you what you need to know, right? This deal, the groundwork has been done. We know this. We know that there was serious conversations last summer and it went down to deadline day and it was almost secured. However, money was the issue. And I was one of those morons. I'm going to tell you again because I was a moron here. I kept on saying, oh, why would we give him that kind of wages? Brother, give him whatever he needs. I don't care at this moment in time. The reason I don't care is because I think he is the difference between Brentford turning into a victory. He is the difference between games where we have a low block against us, crosses are coming in from Pedro Neto, nobody's attacking it. I watched a compilation of him at Galatasaray. Number one, I know it's the Turkish league. I know it's the Kardeş League, yeah? It's the Kardeş League. Everybody there is a Kardeş. The reality is, it doesn't work. It doesn't work to look at the numbers and extrapolate them. However, you can look at the diversity of the goals. You can look at the different type of goals. You can look at the finishes. You can see if these skills are transferable. There was one header in there. I went, mama. I literally saw it. I was like, hey, mama. I could not believe the leap, the power he generated off a header. Victor Osimhen has converted me. This U-turn needs to be studied. He went from somebody that was 4th or 5th on my choice to honestly, me absolutely having no doubt that this is my number one choice. I have absolutely converted on this man. So what are the obstacles here that need to be met? Number one, Victor Osimhen currently makes £295,000 at Napoli. What happened? He got a contract when he had 18 months left because Napoli gave it to him to protect the value of the player. They paid Osimhen handsomely, as they should have, because he asked for the money. They were willing to pay for it. You know my policy. If a club's willing to pay something for you, you're worth that amount. Doesn't matter if I agree with it or not, someone is willing to pay it for you. However, the market crashed. He saw Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, and Rice go for 100 million. He thought the demand would be there for him as well. So did Napoli. However, nobody's willing to pay that 100 million mark. So the player now is worth around about 55 million pounds. And those wages that he's currently on, well, European football's not paying it. There's only one or two clubs that are paying it, and they are Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. And none of them are interested in Victor Osimhen. Who's interested? Arsenal was interested. Chelsea are interested. PSG aren't interested. The Saudi clubs and Galatasaray. So now Victor's got a decision to make. Does he want to go to Saudi and Galatasaray next year? Or does he want to come to England? At this moment in time, it looks like Gyökeres is going to Arsenal. And Chelsea Football Club are the only club that is actively making any noise in having any interest in him. But even then, I don't think he's first choice. So this is a very tricky predicament for him and his camp. I don't blame him if he doesn't want to lower his wages, because he's got guaranteed money. Guys, in life, there is nothing a guarantee apart from the fact that when you sign a contract and there's a certain number of years where you're getting this money. And in his case, why should he let this money go? I don't blame him. But I don't know whether Chelsea will secure him, but it's one of those things we're going to have to wait and see. The next story involves who I think Chelsea are actually going to go. And the reality is, I think, is Liam Delap. Look, Liam Delap is a young striker who's 22 years old that has come through the Manchester City Academy. He's had a few loans, and the loans weren't as successful as they would want to be, but neither were Harry Kane's, and yet Harry Kane arguably became one of the best strikers of his generation. That's a fact. That's not debatable. Yes, he hasn't won the trophies, but he put up the numbers. But what do I need to talk about? Well, here, reports in England, various reports in England, are stipulating that Manchester United view Liam Delap as their number one option. Additionally, there are multiple clubs that are interested in him. Liverpool being one of them, Aston Villa being another, Newcastle if Isak moves on, and Chelsea Football Club have always been interested in the player. Manchester City have a 20% discount if they want to go and buy the player, but there is a £40 million release clause on the player if Ipswich get relegated. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know Ipswich are going to get relegated. It's a matter of time, not when, not if, but when. And this is where it gets interesting. Should Chelsea go and get him? In my opinion, no. Victor Osimhen is the solution. I will reiterate this again. However, who is this player and what has he done? Well, what's he done this year is got 12 goals in an Ipswich team that has been basically preposterous. A lot of people are going to praise him for their approach, for their fight, for their heart. However, in my opinion, and I mean this reasonably, I think that team's really been underwhelming, and the fact that they beat Chelsea is embarrassing. It was an embarrassing night. It's one that I will not get over anytime soon. However, it is super frustrating. And why do I have these reservations about the player? Because his ball striking, elite, great runner off the ball, powerful physically, decent in the air, has everything to be a phenomenal striker one day. Problem is he's unproven. And when I say unproven, I mean he is unproven to the max. He's only had 1 year in the Premier League, and it's 12 goals in 30 games. However, and this is where it gets interesting, it's in a team that there's not that much pressure. Look, they've been relegated for a hot minute. He's out there playing for his next move. He's expressing himself. The team's built around it. This won't be the case at Chelsea. And it's just another risk of bringing in a talent that needs to acclimatise. Will he be good under the pressure of being at Chelsea Football Club? Will he be good when the Stamford Bridge faithful starts booing? Because honestly, after Real Madrid fans, we're the second most entitled fans I've ever met. Because no matter the way the results going, we're booing. Playing out the back, we're booing. Coming forward really quickly, we're booing. Whatever we're doing, the Chelsea fans are booing. We're never happy. Unless the team is winning 2-3-0, they're booing. People call it standard, I call it delusions. However, Liam Delap to Chelsea, I think will happen. Why do I think? I think Chelsea will show him a pathway. The pathway is very simple. You versus Jackson. At this moment in time, Jackson's got 9 league goals this year. That's not good enough. And there will need to be a moment where we need to accept, I need to accept, Jackson's link-up is unreal, but if the finishing doesn't improve, you can't play for Chelsea Football Club as a starter because you're causing problems when you don't take your chances. Secondly, the coaching staff know him really well. The blue coat organism knows him so well. Maresca knows him, spoke so highly about him when we played against him. The club adores Leo Rossigna, who's at Strasbourg. He's coached him. He would have had something positive. Joe Shields is the scout that took him to Manchester City. So you know how the link already is happening. For me, it worries me, but I think this will be our number 9 signing, and I don't think that's a great thing, actually. Look, there's this narrative at this moment in time among Chelsea fans that if we kept Pochettino, we would be in a better place than we are now. And it frustrates me. You know why? Because two things can be true. Maresca could be a rubbish coach, like everybody tells me. He could be a championship coach, like everybody tells me. However, it does not mean Pochettino was a good coach. And I'm going to explain to you why I believe this. And I strongly believe this. Maresca's got 2 years, 2.5 if you want to count Palmer's 10 games that he was the manager, of being a coach. Pochettino's got 10 plus years of experience. In Pochettino's 10 plus years, right, he came to this Chelsea job, Basically the same squads, right? Because everybody tells me last summer took us backwards. Everybody tells me Felix was rubbish, KDH was rubbish, Tussen was rubbish, Neto's rubbish, Sancho's rubbish. So if we sign so many rubbish players and they're playing a lot more minutes for us, it means the squad's gone backwards. According to your, that's a fact. You lot are telling me this. So why on earth does Maresca have, at this moment in time, after the same number of games, 7 more points? We've conceded 18 less goals. 18 less goals. We've matched the number of clean sheets we kept all last year already with 7 games to go. And 1 less goal. You explain that to me. Well, clearly, Maresca is either not as bad as you lot say, or Maresca's actually performing exactly how a second-year coach is meant to perform. Somebody that is not good enough to have the Chelsea job in the first place, got given the Chelsea job and is performing on the metrics that is the Chelsea job in 2025. Sadly, we are no longer the team that gets Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte in their prime, or Carlo Ancelotti in his prime. We are the team that went for an AVB and rather than sack him straight away and bring in a Di Matteo because we had a group of players that can go win us the Champions League, we're a team now that goes, no, we're going to push through with this project, we're going to change everything, and we're going to see where it takes us. This is the land of uncertainty, and I don't know how to act here because I've never been here as a Chelsea fan. This is completely new for me. So what's happened on the Blueco is we finished 12th, 6th, and now I don't know where we're going to finish. But we're in the top 4 at the moment. And when we're in the top 4, I can't complain when I'm used to 12th, 6th, and now hopefully top 4. Why do I think we'll still make the top 4? Because I don't think Forest will maintain what they're doing at the moment. And let me explain. Forest are 4 points clear of us, and we still have to play them. Furthermore, we are 1 point clear of Manchester City, 2 points clear of Aston Villa with 7 games left. And we are joint with Newcastle, who have a game in hand. The only team that has a worse run-in than us is Newcastle. Everyone is convinced Newcastle is going to win all their games. I don't think so. And the reality is there's no difference between finishing 3rd and finishing 5th, in my opinion. If we finish 3rd, boo-hoo. We're not even any closer to winning the league than we were last year. Because in reality, that points gap, while it's closer, I still don't think we're nowhere near Liverpool. There needs to be huge surgery. Furthermore, the only thing we need to do is secure Champions League football. So I don't care how we do it. The next 3 games, for me, are imperative. If you don't get 7 points at least, we are in huge trouble. And the reason I say this is because Ipswich at home has to be a win. I know we've lost to them, has to be a win. Fulham, we lost last time. We have to go there and win the game. Listen, you're basically at home. I don't care if it's an away game. You're basically at home. It's a 10-minute walk from Stamford Bridge. Furthermore, the key thing here is you don't have to travel, and their fan zone have mixed fan zones. We can literally overtake Craven Cottage. And finally, Everton at home. Everton that have nothing to play for. But the reality is, if we can't get 9 points or 7 points from those games, we don't deserve champions. Get that, we're on 62 points. And then you're telling me Manchester United at home, Liverpool that won the league at home, you can't get me 4 points. And then we have a Newcastle game that we must not lose, and Forest game we must not lose. Listen, we might even finish on 66 to 69 points this year. And that's just me being very positive. But it is what it is. People want to be negative. People don't want to support the team. People want to call me a brown envelope because I have some support for the team that I love. But it is what it is. We all have opinions and we have to respect each other's opinions. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go and watch my old video on the match review to the Brentford game. I actually have a different take to most people. I think it was a great point that we earned because we should have lost the game. Go check it out. Bye.